All right, the college recruiting process. The college recruiting process, it can be a little taxing. It can be a little frustrating. It can be like climbing a mountain. And you can't lose patience when climbing a mountain. You can't get frustrated when climbing a mountain. All right, now, the recruiting process typically goes like, we'll use tennis. Typically, you go to play tennis tournaments and you hope the coach comes and watches you play. You hope the coach calls you on that first day they can call you. And you kind of hope that they're going to send you some mail and some letters and so forth. But you can, what I recommend, and definitely what we do in Cummings Athletics, is we just reverse the whole thing. Just reverse the recruiting process. So it's not about being recruited, it's about being the recruiter. And in order to be the recruiter, you have to know what you're looking for. So yeah, we all get turned on. Hey, some coach called us at University X and they showed interest in us, and that excites us. It makes us feel good. It gives you a little bit of confidence as a player. Sure, but all that stuff goes away pretty quickly. So sure, the coach is a gatekeeper for scholarships, for roster spots, and for admission support. All right, so the coach is that. But what you want to do, and the most effective way, again, as I mentioned, that Cummings Athletics, as we do, is we reverse the recruiting process. So we start with what's the budget? Like how much can you spend? How much has the family allocated for you from a budgetary standpoint? What's the cost? So, for example, you can get a scholarship you could get a 50% scholarship maybe at University of Miami, at University of Richmond. Well, you're still going to have to pay probably about $35,000. Those are very expensive schools. So it's not necessarily, when it comes to budget, it's not how much scholarship you're going to get. It's not how much scholarship you're going to get. It's going to be how much scholarship, or what the total cost is going to end up being. So for example, if you're in state, that gets discounted down as opposed to being out of state. Some private schools may offer, if they have high acceptance rates, then they may discount it down. They just might use the high price tag for marketing. For example, I know some schools that have a 70% acceptance rate. They cost $54,000. But they discount it down. So they just use the high price tag as a marketing situation. So they'll have a high price tag and then they market it down. That's schools with 70% acceptance rate. I'm not talking about Harvard's with a 9% acceptance rate. They're not discounting anything down. They'll use scholarships to recruit talented people for sure. So anyway, first thing, your budget. How much you going to spend? Athletics. So let's say, what are you looking for in your athletic experience? Are you looking to go to play number one at a school? And there's advantages to being number one because you're going to be playing against all the other schools' best. So I've heard players and parents say, hey, well, we would like to go and be number 5 and 6 and get better and improve and eventually become number one. Well, that doesn't always happen that way, because a good coach is always trying to out-recruit the team that they have. They're always trying to recruit the new number one player and moving the other number one player down, right? So that's what they're trying to do, is move the lineup down in the recruiting process. So often, if you start off at number one, now that's the player that really develops, because they're getting a lot of competition and so forth. So that's one way to look at it. So what do you want your athletic experience to be? Do you want to go to a school that's going to have a sort of a legitimate chance on winning a conference championship or not? Some schools are not. Division I level, I think there's 32 conferences. So that's 32 chances to win a conference championship and advance to the NCAAs. So you want to get all this up straight by reversing the recruiting process. You gather the information and then you start to see what schools fit there, and then you recruit the coach to have interest in you. So this is about reversing the recruiting process. So we just went through the athletic department, the athletic factor. What are you looking for? Top 6, NCAA qualification. Do you want to be a candidate, be one of the best in the school's history, potentially to be in that school's Hall of Fame? What are you looking for in your athletic experience? All right, now academics. What academics, that's kind of a term that gets thrown around a lot and has a lot of different meanings. But what is the academics often means, how selective of a school do you want to go to? Do you want to go to a school with a 9% acceptance rate, a 50% acceptance rate? So your Ivy Leagues and your prestigious academic schools like that, they have they have probably acceptance rates of single digits. So what kind of people are you going to want to be around? Really smart people, or do you want to be one of the smartest people in your group? In that case, you might want to go to a higher acceptance rate where the school treats you a little bit more special. But you have to determine what it's meant by academics. Do you want to be taught in large classrooms with 250 people, smaller ones with 12 people? You determine that. And again, the acceptance rate. In addition, what major? Some schools have just natural advantages. If it's marine biology, you're usually going to a school that's near the ocean. Some schools specialize in engineering, sports management, all those things. So you need to decide on that, on what your academic experience is going to look like in that situation. Now, also, when it comes to the academic portion, we went through the sizes of the classes and so forth. What kind of career opportunities? So the academics usually lead into some career opportunities. So are there internships? Are people getting employed from that school in that particular major? So you want to kind of track that. So when you start to put these things down on paper, your academics, your athletics, and your social experience. What do you want your social experience to be like? Do you want to go to a school that it's big time football like the Southeast Conference and that provides a certain kind of social experience? Or do you want your social experience, like right now I'm in Vegas, do you want to go to a school where the school is part of the city? So for example, Vegas, if you went to UNLV, go to Vegas, yes. Vegas, UNLV is part of Vegas, which is part of the strip, the casino scenes. Do you want to go to schools in New York or in larger cities like Chicago, where the social atmosphere is not just an on-campus experience? Like if you go to a Southeast Conference school, schools like Alabama, Texas A&M, those are pretty much college towns. Penn State in the Big 10, Big 12, whatever that is, Big 10. If you go to schools like that, they're part of, that's a college town. All right, so you want to go to college town. So you're looking at those three aspects: are academics, athletics, social, and also how does it lead into the careers? Some tennis programs, for example, some coaches are very good at networking their programs within the community or within a certain region, and or getting their kids jobs in, whether it be in the Hamptons or in some West Coast affluent areas in LA and so forth. So reverse the recruiting process. I cannot say that enough. The object is to reverse it. And then once you reverse it, it makes it easier and more efficient for you to seek out what you're looking for and what experiences. The opposite of reversing is just painful, because you're waiting for things to happen. You're hoping for things to happen. The analogy that I often use is like a prom date. Do you want to just sit around and hope someone asks you to the prom? Or do you want to be proactive and make it happen? So I encourage you to be very proactive if you're looking for proactive, reverse the recruiting process, not just for college, but also for a prom date. Trust me, it's a lot less painful